everybody, welcome back to the Village Voice. I'm your host, Leila, and today we're diving into a really personal topic, the impact of an absent father on the life of a child. Something that I know most of you will be able to relate to. I'm joined by someone very special and an expert on the topic, Aleesha Agarwal Goyal, otherwise known as the Mystic Bubble. And if you have been following The Village for a while, you may even remember an Instagram live that I did with her years ago where we spoke about animal communication. Since then, Alicia's work has evolved and she now also focuses on a lot of topics that are very new to me, such as energy shifts, ancestral healing, and so much more. So we sat down to talk about how growing up without a father or having a complicated relationship with one can shape a child's self worth, career paths, and even their relationship to money. But most importantly, and the most important question that I had to ask her was, can we really heal? Can we break those cycles? Can we do better for our children? Can we step into our abundance and help them do the same and truly reclaim our power? Well, you will have to listen to this episode to find out. So let's get to it. Hope you enjoy. So, Alicia, our paths crossed on Instagram a few years ago, and this was at a time when I was still building my community, very early days, and you were also just starting to tell your story. At the time, you were an animal communicator, and that is what caught my interest. That was unique, that was fresh. But now I see that you've added layers and more colors to your definition. And you talk about very different topics. And a topic that has caught my interest and what I want to talk to you about today is the consequences or the impact of an absent father in the life of a child, which, as you know, is a topic which is very important to me and the community. So I'm just going to start with the questions if you're ready to start. First, I want you to introduce yourself, of course. Tell us a bit about yourself. I want to know how your journey has brought you to this point.
Okay, so wow, nobody's ever asked me that question, but it's beautiful. I started becoming a different person when animals came into my life. So, of course, I started as an animal communicator, and it's going to be 12 years very soon that I've been communicating with animals. When I gradually moved the rabbit hole of being an animal communicator, I also realized that how much they teach us and they try to tell us there is something wrong in me also. The kind of childhood I've had, I also know the meaning of an absent father, experienced it firsthand. So life becomes very difficult, and then you are obviously either into the flight, fight, or freeze mode. It depends. Only in the long run will you realize which mode did you pick up, otherwise, it's all on autopilot living. Then, I give big gratitude and huge thanks to my family. I've been very lucky to be born in the family that I am into. Because of them, I started exploring how the human mind works, what is happening with us, how am I thinking, and why is it that I'm going through the same situation that I have gone through in my childhood, in my relationship also. When you grow up, you're looking to somebody that, I'm going to settle down with them, and you see, wait, this is my father. What's going on here? So that made me very curious. And my elder sister was always a psychotherapist. So I kind of followed that path very naturally. Now I am primarily into hypnotherapy, and I kind of hold space for people to heal from their own family patterns and live a different life. It's almost like a part two that you can start. But I'll always be an animal communicator first. So
I think so. That has been your first love. How many dogs and how many cats do you have now?
now we have 2 dogs and 7 cats.
House full.
Houseful.
Yeah. But Alicia, that is the thing that also attracted to me to your profile as well, is that your work emphasizes a lot on concepts like manifestation, animal communication. There's a lot of talk now about generational patterns, family healing, and I want to understand how important is this as a practice to you, and why should someone come to you? And when? What are the signs to look for?
So, okay, I will start with the word healing itself. That's a
Okay.
big responsibility for me. And while you will see my programs running like heal your money patterns, heal, your love and all of that, but it is a term that I use with great responsibility. When should someone come to me? I think anybody can come to a person like me when they know there is repetition that's happening in our life. Good, bad, ugly experiences are supposed to be happening just once. The beauty that you create, the money that you create, the abundance that you see in your life is also only once. You do not live the same beautiful moment twice. Then why are you living the misery twice? Why is it happening again and again? There is a reason, and it goes back either to your own parents or to your ancestry, which is your entire lineage of grandmothers and grandfathers who have ensured that there is a world existing for you today. You know, Lela, when you look around, now is the time when people actually are sitting and thinking that there is something that's repeating in my life, and I don't think this is my fault anymore. Where is this coming from? When these kind of questions arise, I think someone can, yes, definitely come to me. My primary focus is to understand what is happening in your life, and because I am going to be totally detached from that story, I don't know you. Usually, clients find me on Instagram or on my website. So, the kind of inputs that you will receive from me are going to be non judgmental, non biased because I don't know you. So, a lot of times it also creates a new chain of thoughts, and sometimes it triggers people. They do come back after a few days once that trigger is settled because I have been living with a story. And now you're saying that 100% is not the other person's fault. I have to take responsibility for my own healing. What does that look like? What does acceptance look like? So that is my primary focus.
But I have to ask, have there been times in your life when you have doubted these belief systems? Because it's a bit brave, a bit new age. There are a lot of naysayers, a lot of skeptics. How have you gone back to reaffirm your belief systems again? Of course, I know your family has been hugely supportive, but
Yeah.
even in your business now, because now you're an entrepreneur, this is your full time job, this is what you are
Yes.
focused on in your life.
Yes.
But are there moments when you are also struck by disbelief, and how do you reaffirm or cleanse your belief system?
So, I come from the space of experience first and expertise later. I think
Mm.
it happens the other way around for most people. You study first and then there is experience. My life has been that experience. I have gone through my own series of turbulent events ever since I was little. And then when I moved into a world of something that they call as healing, something that
Mm.
they call as breaking that ancestral pattern, I started seeing shifts in my life. Is why that question of does this really work does not arise for me because I am a living example of yes, it works. I would have been a very different person had I not been doing everything that I'm doing right now. Of course, not professionally, but if I may say so, I am my own guinea pig first. I need to experiment it, the manifestations that I talk about. If I don't believe in it, if it's not working for me, I can't make anybody else believe it. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
belief is very strong because I have seen changes in my own life.
Right.
So is it new? Yes, it is new because acceptance is new. We're no more in that society where I can blame someone fully. That you did this, own up to it, and then I will see what changes in my life. Yes, there is calling out people, but there is also calling myself out.
Mm.
And we'll be surprised of how many people are actually ready for that.
Mm.
I want to know, I also faltered, but I don't know where and how to come out of this. So,
I think you've set the stage up wonderfully for our topic of the day.
absolutely, yes.
The topic we're talking about is fathers, absent fathers in the lives of children. Before we get into that, I want to understand what is a father. How important is it? And can it be a non biological person? Can anybody else fill in those roles? I want to say, like a grandfather or an uncle or a best friend, even of the other parent or the mother. Is that something that you can tell us about?
It's a beautiful question. What is a father? When we think about what is a father, what is a mother, there are two examples I like to give. Mother is the earth that's there for you. You can't walk if there is no earth. It's as real, is as pure as that. It's your foundation, it's your grounding, it's how you look at the world, how you're standing tall. Father is the sky. That is where the sun is, that is where the moon is, that is where you're getting your rain, your air from. Now, who's to say which one is more important? Both are equally important. And when there is one absent element,
Mm.
because we're talking about the father, if there is no
Mm.
sky, what are you going to
Mm.
look up to? Who are you going to look up to? that absent figure creates a vacuum in our life. And I have so many clients who have labeled other people as father, elder brother. They don't have any such figure to associate with in their real life. So, which is beautiful, by the way, to create such deep relationships that you can feel like they are your guardian, they are your father.
Yeah.
Can they take place of your biological father? No. And they shouldn't. First step of healing that you need to accept exactly how your father is or was. There is no changing that is going to happen. Eventually, when we go through this whole ancestral pattern clearing journey, we also realize that we're born into a certain family for a certain reason. There are karmic lessons that you have to learn. Your soul has chosen this family, this father who's going to be absent, but that is a very later stage. Initially, if we can just accept that the father is my sky, maybe it was absent for me or I couldn't see it, it does not mean it never existed. Both are equally important, I feel, for every child. Can they make relationships, or is it okay to go out and can anybody else take the father's place? Yes, of course. Biological father's place? No, but someone can make you feel as safe as a father. Because when these children grow up, the safety that we're looking for is going to come from that experience of a father, of the masculine in your life. So, yes, someone else can become that figure.
But in the absence of that, what other support systems or role models can a single parent or a mother in this picture build around the child to ensure that, as you call it, the sky is still there? It can still be maintained or some semblance of it.
You know, the first thing us as women need to accept that that sky is equally important. So that is one. No matter how the experience was, but it is equally important for my child. So that acceptance has to be there. No fighting that thing that, oh, this is how your father was, this is how your father is. Because the moment then you try to create a community which is filling up that shoe or that space
Yeah.
for the father figure, it's not going to happen because that space is filled by this is how your father was. There are a lot of labels, a lot of name tags which already filled that space. You only have this much space, Hana. If you filled that up with a lot of guilt to the child, knowingly, unknowingly, a lot of anger, you can't refill it. What you can do is first tell your child it is really okay to have a father that's absent. It's not that uncommon and it is fine. If you can realign this child's belief system to, so what? You ask the child, how is your life getting impacted by this absence of the sky? What is happening? What do you want to feel with the father figure? Having that conversation, how's the child feeling, is very important. And the next is how safe or secured is this child feeling with other masculine people, with other male energies. It is very important to inform the child nobody will replace your father, but it is okay to allow other men. It's okay. Maybe an uncle who can be a support system, maybe an elder brother can be a support system. Sometimes animals who are male dogs, male cats can be support system. What is this child looking for? For the child, the mother is the nurturer, the father is the caregiver, the protector. How can you give that protective energy around? That should be the focus for the mother. Also, one thing that I always say that do not try to be the father. You know, that is something that is going to create a lot of confusion in this child and is going to grow up as, oh, my mother had to do everything because my father was not present.
That is one belief system that a lot of single mothers do carry. Thank you for clarifying that and putting it out there. So, Alicia, my next question is, and it's very important for me because I have a growing kid now. He's 10, and he started talking about father figure and how he misses his father very more openly now. I guess because he's grown up, he has the words now to better articulate it. So, for other parents that are listening, what are the signs that you can look for in a child? What are the behaviors that they carry which are indicative of carrying some very deep wounds of an absent father, you think?
I will relate it to how a lot of
Mhm.
my clients who are now grown
Sure.
ups but have
Mhm.
had an experience of an absent father
Okay.
still carry those feelings. You can be in your 30th, 40th, 50th year and still feel
Sure.
like I am that little child who didn't have a father. The
Mhm.
first sign that we must look at is how am I trying to repel that masculine energy? Is it like I'm in a constant competition? competition is healthy, it is good, but it should be within my own age group and within a certain circumstance or a situation. Like there is a game that's happening, okay, fine, then there is competition. I'm a sportsman, then there is competition. But if there is that need that I need to prove something to another by winning over them, that's a problem. That's a problem because then the winning is no more about for yourself. It's no more about beating the person that you used to be and becoming better. It's just to prove a point to the other masculine energy ki ha, okay, I am as equal as you are. Eventually that can make a child very spiteful because the world is going to get brutal, it's going to get more competitive, and you will have to keep on trying to understanding how the human mind actually works. The other sign that we must look at is extreme withdrawal in the presence of anybody who's a man, because we're talking about absent father. Extreme withdrawal. I do not want to face them. I do not want to talk to them. And this happens in the children who are girls a lot. So many of my clients who are now grown up, they're working in companies which are like the IT firms, which is unfortunately dominated by men, at least in India. They find it very difficult, Leila, to communicate, to have a heart to heart conversation with a boss that is a man, because I don't know how to talk to this gender. I've never seen what it is like. It's a very unfamiliar energy. So if you see a child, especially if it's a daughter that you have, and you see extreme withdrawal, do not want to talk to men, very shy, there is something that's going on inside, which even she or he may not know. The other sign of how an absent father can play in that child is always trying to be the man of the house, even if it's a daughter, trying to be the man of the house, trying to take care of everything, everyone. And unfortunately the society is such, especially if it's a single child, that oh, now it's only you who's there for your mother. You have to take care of everything. You have to be the elder one. And if this child has a tantrum, has a very childlike feeling, which is normal, you can't do that. You have to be the adult, the man of the house. That's so much pressure. You won't believe this, Laila. There's one of my clients who has had PCOS because of that extreme rejection of being a girl. I don't know how to be a girl. Although I want to be a girl, I love that gender, but I have to be the man of the house. So there are so many signs if we only look at instead of asking the child, what is wrong with you? You're behaving different.
So, what would you suggest? And I want to clarify this. When a client comes to you, are you working with the parent, with the mother, or are you working with the child? Or is it the both of them together? What is your process?
I'm always working with the mother.
Okay.
In family systems and family constellations by Bert Hellinger, we say that, and I strongly believe this, that children are small and parents are big. Children only receive and parents give. And when you understand that as a parent, that the expectations that I have from my child are actually maybe the expectations of my parents. I am just reliving that part. A lot of times it happens in family systems that the brokenness is something that existed. Maybe now it's given a tag of a divorce, but when you look at marriages even 50 years ago, 100 years ago, not everybody was happy with each other. They weren't divorced. So in the bargain, these children, us children, were raised by single parents. The fathers used to travel a lot, are working outside. So when I work with the mother, it's a game changer. Because then this mother is so empowered, she's able to give something new to herself first and then the child.
My next question is, how does growing up without a father or even just having a difficult father-child relationship, right, affect a child's self-worth, confidence, and ability to make good and more stable career choices?
When a child is growing up with immense guilt,
Hmm.
there are a lot of paths to why a child will feel unsatisfied, unsuccessful, and does not want to be seen in the normal world. One is guilt. There's a lot of guilt, and most children feel that the father has left because there is something wrong with them. Because the child does not know who else to blame. Children are born lawyers to their parents. We are so loyal that we can advocate our parents to world's end. This is very natural. So when they grow up in an absent father family, they don't know whom to blame. I can't blame my mother because I'm so loyal and I'm only going to say good things. So it's me then. It's me because of me, my father left. When we grow up and we try to make a mark in the world, where is the sky? Whom do I look up to? Whom do I need to become like? Where is my protection? Am I protected if I go out in the world? These questions start haunting children. And if you can't protect yourself in a volatile environment, you will either run away or you will try to fight it. In order to fight it, you may then pick up other tools of anger, and anger, when misled, then becomes violence. Anger, when suppressed, it becomes depression. You don't know what you will encounter, and you will take the same personality to work. Now, when you're working, the dynamics change because all of us are coming from different family backgrounds. I want to say that you don't know I've had an absent father. What if my boss wants to say, you don't know I've had an absent family? You at least had a mother. I don't even have that. When all of these dynamics start to play, that is where every single role will come to picture. A child who's never had a father or a father to look up to will find it very difficult to find good people at work, supportive group, because support equals to protection. I have never felt it, so I will repel it. I will find peace when there is chaos. And this is very normal. We don't even realize until we see it as a third person perspective that, oh, yes, I do feel peaceful when there is chaos around, when there is so much of unprotectiveness. The other thing that happens in careers is that they're not able to reach the success that they're looking at, the kind of fame that they want, that I am working, I'm really working, and I'm giving it my all, but I don't think I'm reaching that space, that position where my colleague has reached. Of course, there is favoritism, there are many other things, there are layers to it, but why are you not able to reach?
I want to pick up on a point that you mentioned earlier when you said that the father figure is the role of a protector or a provider. I want to take from that that also means a financial provider, the breadwinner as well, right? Even if the mother is working, traditionally the mindset is to say that the father is the provider. So when there is no active provider or father figure in the house, does that affect your belief system or your inner voice around money? I want to understand what are some common money mindsets that a child adopts and carries with them right from childhood. Can you throw some light on that if possible?
Yes. The common belief that you will see in the collective of children of absent fathers is, I don't think we have enough money. No matter how much money you earn, there will never be enough. You know why? Because your goal is X amount at the end of this year, and you will realize suddenly you want something far bigger than this X amount. And then you will go to that belief system that, oh, there is never enough money. Yeah, actually, I never have. There is no understanding that my goals are way too heavier than what I'm earning right now. And there is no understanding or belief that I will reach that space once. No. Because this entire space is filled with, there is no money. I don't have any money. I can't find any success. Why will people look at me? Why will people choose me? Because my father walked on. Wow. This may not be the narrative always, this conscious belief that my father walked out on me, but there is going to be a vacuum always. And even in relationships, you're constantly looking for protection. When you don't find that, you become the provider, you become the protector, and you are providing 100%, and then you feel like, okay, this is not what I signed up for. What's going on?
But I want to dig a little bit deeper because we
Sure.
have a huge community of single mothers, and I'm sure the question that is even in my mind right now is how can we remove that scarcity mindset, right? Because, yeah, some days are tight, some days are difficult, some years have been very tough. And of course, kids, they watch you, they're in your presence, and they create their own understanding in their minds, right? But how can a mother really walk that path and say, hey, it's okay that this struggle or this thing that we're going through right now is just a part of a normal existence? How can we really reaffirm that to a child, still like, even as young as maybe 5 or 6, I want to say?
Children pick up on energy first and words later. So when we want to drop that guilt, I don't want my child to feel guilty. We need to look within ourselves. How guilty am I feeling that my child is being deprived of something? As someone in my mid 30s, if you ask me what was my favorite thing in their childhood, I don't remember. What was my favorite incidents? That memory is so strong. Watching TV with my mother and father used to be my favorite thing. So I think as adults, as mothers, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves that I have to give my child the perfect life. And even if I have to work 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 4 jobs, it's really okay. My child should not cry, should never feel that we don't have enough money. You may end up making this whole situation as this child growing up and saying, I didn't have enough love. We should never replace love with money. That is what is going on now. I was reading somewhere the concept of Fordism, how consumerism actually boomed in the world, where when you look at this entire concept of Fordism, when it never existed, we used to know each other, the neighbors and our relatives, by what is that one skill we're good at. Now we know each other by what is the car that we own, where do I live, what kind of a house am I living in, so if we drop that guilt, and if we have this conversation with a child that it's really okay, I mean, what do you want? Do you want this game? Wait for another year, we'll get it, don't worry, it's really fine. And you really make it sound like a normal. There is no, how do I say this? There is no exchange for love, compassion, and protection with money. A lot of children, they grow up feeling that in order to feel loved, I have to have enough money, because whoever was there in the family was always earning money. And I was told that I can't spend time with you because I'm working two jobs, so you can have food at the table.
Guilty of that. I have to reframe that for sure. Yeah, he always complains and tells me, you're working all the time, and I don't even realize it, right? So thank you for calling me out there. But I'm going to push you a little further there, and I want to ask you,
Sure.
what are some daily practices, Aleesha? What are some maybe affirmations, some positive practices, something we can introduce even in our language when we talk to our children on the daily?
Yes, of course, plenty. In fact, all my healing sessions, I always tell people that this is not a magic wand. It's going to take a lot of time and deep hard work. Hard work in the form of focusing on what I'm thinking, what is going on in my life, what is the mental chatter that I have. Because no matter how many healing sessions you take, if your inner chatter is still that, see, I told you I never have enough. I told you people walk out on me. Nobody else can actually go inside your mind and change that belief system. A few affirmations that I recommend between sessions, and I'll be very happy to share it with people. First is replace everything with I am. What are you?
Mm-hmm.
I am rich? No, sorry. That will come. If you look at affirmations now, I am the owner of this house, I am the owner of this car, I am rich, I am earning. What are these affirmations? These are pressuring affirmations, I feel.
Yeah.
If we can simplify to I am working, I am healthy, I am worthy, I am beautiful, I look at myself, I am available. You won't believe the guilt
Yeah.
mothers feel for not being available. If we can just reaffirm that I am available, I am there. And I am not a machine, so I am going to be available as much as I can. And then drop it every single day. If we can just write a letter to our own self. This is what I did best today. Three things what you think you aced at. That's it. A lot of us start our mornings with regret. I didn't wake up at this time. Oh, I had to start a healthy day today. I did not. I had to do this for my child, but I couldn't. And you will not realize your child is so attached to you, is actually speaking the same language unknowingly. And then you're like, okay, I don't do that in front of him or her. But your energy is what they're absorbing. The second thing that you can do is start making a manifestation box. The idea of a manifestation box is so beautiful. And I feel like the life I'm living right now is straight out of my manifestation box, which I had a few years ago. What is it that you want? We always think very short. Okay, I need this much X amount of income. Income will come. Do you ever wake up in the morning and feel like, oh, what if it does not, the sun does not shine? There is no sunrise tomorrow. How do we have such strong belief system that it is going to be sunrise tomorrow? And if it's evening, there is going to be moonlight. So why are we, a lot of our manifestations are going to what is actually our birthright. Our birthright is to be happy. Our birthright is to be provided for. Now, what do you want? You have all of that. When you start thinking on those lines, what is the specific that you want? Goals. In that manifestation box, if you can divide your goals into spirituality, healing, also, you will start realizing that you have accommodated a different energy in that box.
That
And
is
you revisit
brilliant.
that box, yes, at the end of the year, you will see a lot of things that have been done.
Yeah, I love that. I'm gonna press a little further. There is internal chatter. I love that you picked up on that, and I'm surely 100% guilty of having negative and guilt-induced internal chatter for sure. But there is also societal chatter, right? Like when the kid goes to school, there are other kids who are obviously not well versed in how to talk to kids that come from backgrounds like ours, and they are going to be talking about doing the latest, whatever is the latest thing, the PS4, PS5, whatever. How come you don't have a car? So remember, there was a time when I had to give up my car after my divorce, and I didn't have a car for a period of time. And that became a thing where his friends would be like, why are you coming by Uber? Why are you coming in, why are you not coming in your car? You not have a car. It's a simple thing. I get it. I get it that for that kid, that is probably their conversation. I want to understand, how do we reconcile inner life, your home life, and even if there's peace at home, like you can do all of this at home. You can have your safe space at home. You can create that system of love and peace at home. But once you go out, there is all of this chatter which is going on. I'm saying even in their own age group, peers, people that they run across in school. How do we reconcile the two? How do we tell the kid that that is how it is, or I don't know, what are we supposed to tell them?
A child that understand these terms, that we don't have a car, we don't have a
Mm,
bigger house, or there is
mm,
something that is lacking,
I
can
like.
be can also pick up on beautiful concepts that can be taught at home. There is one beautiful
Mm,
concept by Stephen Covey, the
mm,
circle of influence and the circle that's out of control. So you draw
mm,
two circles and you ask this beautiful child to draw. You tell me what is in your control. You draw it in the circle of control, and I'm not sure if it's called circle of control, but there is a COC and there's a COI. So there is one circle that is in your control, the other one is not in your control. Put everything in that. And this is your lesson. You need to understand. Children learn by observing. So if we start doing that activity, oh, here are two circles, this circle is in my control and this circle is not in my control. How about you do it with me and show me?
mm,
And when you start putting things like what is in my control, my diet, what I think, what I listen, what I consume, the TV, what is not in my control, what that auntie is going to call and say, what is not in my control, how my boss is going to behave. My long lost auntie is suddenly going to show up and tell me, oh, you're not married anymore. When we have this heart to heart conversation of what is hurting us with the child automatically starts to mimic. And within half an hour, 45 minutes, you would have realized this is what he thinks is not in his control. And then how you explain it to him. So this is not in your control, which means if it happens again, there is a repetition. There is going to be a repetition in a different form and face
yeah.
until this child grows up. I still have people, asking me, long lost relatives, that what about your father, where is he? So it is something that very early in their life they will need to understand, not in my control. That is the first step of healing, taking 50% responsibility of what I can do. The rest 50% is back to whoever it belongs to.
I'm understanding now when you say that you start with the mother, because ultimately that is your active role model for a child, be it however it might be. So it's how I reflect on what is going on inside me that they're going to pick up on as well. Is have I understood that correctly from what you're saying?
Absolutely, absolutely. The energy that you radiate is going to be picked
Mm,
up by them. Good, bad, ugly, everything.
everything. So I just want to understand correctly from what you said is that what is in the house, 100% that's important, the kind of energy, as you said, good, bad, and ugly. As long as you go outside of the house with the understanding that you have a safe space to come back to, and that these things are in my control, some things are going to be out of my control, that understanding has to be set in the child's mind
Yes.
very early on. And are you saying also, did I understand correctly, is it going to help them in their future, how they build towards their own success, and is that the path towards that eventually?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. In fact, children of absent fathers often fall in love with the
Mm.
masculine who is showing even just that breadcrumb theory that's going on in the
Yeah.
world right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll just drop some breadcrumbs and oh, this person is like my father. I wish I had a father like that. And then the story is going to play out differently. So, how do we train this child that when you grow up, you need to have all eyes open and you need to create your own safe space? Is why children should never look back for support only on their mothers. It's a lot of pressure for the mother also. What is your safe space? If we can just narrate this to the child that this is my safe space. Maybe it's gardening, maybe it's music, maybe he's meeting new people. What is yours? And also telling this child it will change, it will evolve. So let's make this big circle, and every 10 years, every decade, we'll keep adding what is your safe space. So this is going to be that go-to tool for this child. And yes, when I work with mothers who have been deeply hurt by their partners, it's not easy to accept that this child is 50% that man. It is he or she is going to reflect certain behavior, certain energy patterns of the man who I don't want in my life. But the more we accept that, it's okay. 50%, but it's also my 50%. And if we can just play this out for the child very clearly that I am not the only one who created you. There were two people, your father and your mother. So respect both of them equally. Does that mean you go back to a father who's absent? No. In your mind, yes. He did whatever the best he could at that moment or did not know the definition of best. Drop it, move ahead, and see how differently your life turns out.
Conclude on that. I have one last question if you have the time.
Yes.
What is some parting advice? Any final words that you can give to single mothers who are also struggling with their careers and their business, however they might be earning their income because of their own unresolved issues? What is that one affirmation, any advice, anything that you can give? Which would, of course, benefit their child as well as I'm understanding now, it's all
Yes.
a trickle down effect. So, what is
Yes.
one mindset shift, something very important they can do for themselves?
There is this book title, It Didn't Start With Us. I want
Mhm.
people to know this. It did not start with us. It started with a different generation. If you can do some research, if you can not weigh yourself down so much that, oh my God, I am the first person to be a single parent in my entire generation. Maybe you're tagged that, but very high chances generations before you this had started, where mothers and grandmothers felt abandoned, emotionally abandoned, or they felt cheated but could never walk out. They didn't have that opportunity. But when we give those mothers and grandmothers their due respect and also those fathers a place in our heart that they deserve, it will be so much easier to move because then you're moving lighter. I always tell people that your goal is Mount Everest. You cannot carry your entire generation with you. You can only carry yourself and your descendant, that's your child. So focus on working or walking lighter. Drop what happened in the past or focus on your own self healing. In the next 3 to 4 years, you will realize you have evolved, changed. Your child has also evolved and changed.
I think I'm going to carry that. Alicia, thank you so much for doing this and giving me
Thank
an
you.
hour and more of your time today. And not just time, it's just the energy and the learning. I've learned so much because I want to say, Alicia, I've been a single parent for 8 years and every year has thrown new challenges. So the journey never ends.
Yes.
That's the unfortunate
Very
truth, right?
true.
You're always carrying something or the other. And I might have evolved from what I was 8 years ago, but there's always new challenges that comes up as your child grows. So this has been extremely affirming for me. I feel so much better after having this conversation with you, and I'm sure many people will benefit from this. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a beautiful conversation indeed.
Thank
Thank you.
you. What a powerful conversation, right? Well, it looks like I have some work to do on myself. But it's good to know that there's hope for a new direction, right? Anyway, let me know in the comments what resonated the most with you. And if you would like to connect with Aleesha and dive deeper into the topic we just discussed and other things that she does wonderful work with, be sure to follow her. She goes by the Mystic Purple on Instagram. I'll even drop the link in the caption. So thank you so much, Aleesha. You are a joy to this world. But thank you to my dear listeners for listening. And if this conversation made sense to you, it resonated with you, share it with a friend who you think might benefit. Tag us on Instagram and let's keep this dialogue going. So until next time, this is your host, Leila, signing off. And remember, stay awesome.